I just want to do a couple of logistics points here. A preliminary wrap-up. We'll do more later. And remember, you get another shot at these folks. We had them go through their presentations at half-hour intervals right now, but they're going to return to the stage after lunch and answer questions from the audience and from a business panel. And we have opportunities for networking at lunch. As I noted, we have a lunch program, but it starts a little bit later into lunch. There's a buffet out there that you're going to go and grab and bring back in here. It's all done very efficiently. And then we'll hear the lunch presentation and we'll turn to the afternoon panel after that. And I just want a couple of points up front here about what I saw and heard this morning. You know, clearly collaboration, partnership are big issues. And it's partnership between all parties, between the government, between the education facilities and institutions, and, you know, of course, the business sector. You also heard that people around the country are funding performance. You know, no one came up to the University of Utah. Would be nice, I'm a college faculty, but would have been nice if they backed up with a truck full of money and a shovel and started shoveling it in, and, you know, the University of Utah could have built up whatever programs it chose. That's not how that went. What it is that there's limited resources. There's limited opportunity. There's a necessity for these institutions like higher ed to perform in a way like they never have before. We're in a serious competition globally. And these monies are scarce resources. So the idea is, yeah, there is a public good here in research. There's a public good that no business model in the private sector will fund in some ways. They're counting on universities to do that. But then the universities are responsible for showing that they've done what they said they were going to do, that they were innovative, that they produced patents, that they helped get through that so-called valley of death, that they even built companies up that were ready to be sold to the private sector. But the private sector, in the end, was the one that did the picking about what the promising opportunities were in the marketplace. And you heard that theme again and again, that the universities are there, and if you don't invest in them, you really don't have this as a resource. They're there as a public good. They're there to do the basic research that no investors with a bottom line in the marketplace will pay for, but without which you lose some big sector of innovation. There's telling stories, too, about the Italian firm that was going to walk away from a place like Phoenix and had a key meeting with Phoenix on, you know, what can you do for us? And that swung them. I won't say what other city they were going to go to, but apparently it was one of these two right here. I'll tell you what, I think it's just cool that when I was a kid growing up, Phoenix, I remember the first time I was there like a grandparent, was all golf courses and retirees, and now they've got TV screens you can bend. Who in their right mind would think that Phoenix was the place where TV screens could be put on your arm for viewing? And that's the kind of, you know, association that I think Las Vegas can get in other sectors. You heard also how important tourism is. If they don't know where you are, they'll never have you in their sites for consideration for relocation. Our convention trade is probably one of the most important assets in this city. The ability to take those firms that come through here, and some of them come through multiple times. There's firms at that Consumer Electronics Show right now that are here in multiple conventions, making multiple efforts. We have to say to them, listen, there's opportunities for establishing some degree of permanence within this state. This is not some foreign terra incognita to you. You know, people know Las Vegas. Our biggest asset is that some very large share of the U.S. adult population has actually been in this city. When I moved to this city, everyone had an opinion on it, good and bad. But the one thing I found was everyone had been here. I hardly met anyone who wasn't in this city. I don't think any of our presenters have not been in this city. And there are plenty of places in the United States people have never been to. And so this is some of our opportunity. And you saw that Denver had a similar opportunity. Denver, in some ways, seemed worse on its knees than we do currently. They had numbers coming out of that region that were as dramatic in terms of booming in the 70s with that energy rise and those high prices, and busting in the early 80s as that all came down, and despairing and finger pointing as described so in such good gory detail by Tom here. And yet the path out of that and the willingness to sustain the investment in that path, meaning that it wasn't a short-term solution. You know, I know there's a lot of discouragement in this region right now where people are saying, well, you know, we ain't going to get out of this in a couple of years. Duh. Yeah, we're not going to get out of this in a couple of years. We can get into this in a couple of years. We're going to get out of this in a couple of decades. But if you don't start now, you know, the world of our children in 2030 and grandchildren is not going to be vastly improved over this one. I fear that it might be the opposite. And so what we need to do is look at what is being presented here by way of lessons and by way of relevance. Some of the things presented here are capacities we don't have. Some of the things presented here are minor strategies for us, but many of the things presented here strike me as having direct relevance to this region. Notice, by the way, that Dallas, as wonderful as things are going in Dallas, Dallas didn't have a Tier 1 university. Dallas is making a concerted effort to establish a university that is credibly at the tier with A&M, Texas A&M, or the University of Texas. And that university doesn't have to have the best English department. It doesn't have to have some amazing humanities program. All these are good. I see the College of Liberal Arts Dean is out there. I'm sure he's frowning right now. The CEO, by the way, of the largest firm in this country, in this city right here, actually has a background in liberal arts. I'm not disparaging that. But when you're short on cash and you're needing to be delivering results to a stingy state, which in the end all states are stingy, all governments, are stingy in the end. When you have to deliver results like that, you're going to have to go after the sectors that you see opportunity in. And in this region, there is multiple opportunity. It's just a matter of discipline and stick-to-itiveness. And given the entrepreneurship that has been shown in the gaming industry, you talk about a city that has no purpose being somewhere. Dallas, hey, you had a river. We had a river, but you had to dam it. We had a river, but this is a desert. We didn't seem to have much purpose, but that's not the point. Entrepreneurship built what we have so far, and entrepreneurship will build what we're going to go to in the future. And with that, I'll say, have a good lunch, and somebody will be back up here to do the lunch presentation. And I think Stephen Horsford over there, sitting there, is nodding. He's going to be presenting the speaker. Thanks very much.